Life is a mystery. If you take away the mystery and everything was certain, you wouldn't need faith.
I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin.
Hey, Bishop Jakes, how are you?
What's up, man?
Man, it's so good to see you.
It's better to see you. How you doing? Looks like you're out in the sun.
So now what he's doing is he's making, he's making the Christians look real bad.
Recent evidence released by CNN suggests a potential link between Bishop T.D. Jakes and Diddy's controversies. This development raises questions about the bishop's involvement in Diddy's alleged misdeeds, sparking a new wave of scrutiny.
Being a bodyguard for Diddy, you know, you've been to his parties. You feel like it's totally inappropriate for T.D. Jakes to be at a Diddy party.
I think it's very inappropriate of a man of a cloth to be at a party like that and then dancing across the stage or dancing, you know, at that type of atmosphere. You know, you got to separate yourself from the two, man. You know what I'm saying? You got people with drugs, alcohol, you know what I'm saying? Women that's loose, women that's in the women, men is in the men is in woman, twos, threes, whatever. Anything that goes on, bro, it goes on. But that's back in the, you know, from in the 90s and 2000. But it wasn't so much back then that you see men coming on each other like that, like you do now. They don't care now. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a shit. But back then, they cared a little bit more who knew that they was out like that. They don't care no more. It's activity like that in all phases of rap now. You understand? So in those parties, you definitely gonna see that there because you see rappers there. You understand? You gonna see that stuff there, man. But my whole thing about it is this. You got a reverend or you got a bishop that's supposed to be helping you get your house in order. And he's supposed to be doing the right thing, and you look at your television, he doing the wrong thing, cause he dancing at Diddy party. But you have to understand that maybe his house ain't right. How he gonna get your house in order, and his house ain't in order? Look, bro. I read this. One of he got two sons that is about, and I'm talking about T.D. Jakes. He got two sons that may be part of the LGBT or that community. Allegedly, I guess. One was caught in a park, maybe Houston or Dallas in Texas, you know, doing not felonious, but a fragrant homosexual act with somebody. Now, I'm looking at Rev ain't got his house in order, and his boys is like that. They should be a product of him. Maybe the boys is telling you something and saying something loud without even opening their mouth. Or do they open their mouth? I don't know.
Right. But I would have backtracked, right? I would have backtracked to Cassie. Do you think she was attracted to Diddy, or do you think she was only with him because of his money?
She said she wasn't. She said she wasn't. It ain't what I think. She said I wasn't physically attracted to him. I didn't think he was this, that, and the third. Yo, you gotta think he's your father or something like that. Your old man. I think she was 19 and he was in his early 40s or what? Late 30s? Somebody, she could have been his daughter.
What's the point of getting with a chick, bro, that you know not physically attracted to you? Like,
Yo, Yo, bro, it's a lot of cats out here. They, for a better word, they F out they leave. And the girl looking at them like she the Statue of Liberty. She always got her hands in the air. Give me, lend me, can you spare? And when dudes figure out that those women is only using them because what they can give them and what they have for them.
To better understand the situation, it's essential to know how Diddy's events are organized. This context is crucial in grasping why Bishop T.D. Jakes' attendance at one of these parties has raised eyebrows and sparked controversy.
Is that, you know, a lot of people think I came here to bring a black man down. And that's what I hear in the comments a whole lot. But it was nothing like that. You know, a black man didn't cuss a dead man's mother out. A black man didn't set his friends up and put them in a situation where they couldn't come home to their families no more. A black man didn't reach back and help the people that helped them make it up the ladder. It was Puffy. You understand? I got tired of Puffy going on different platforms talking about how he loved the people that we was all with, how he loved the people that helped him, when in fact none of that stuff was true. So my whole thing about it is, man, I appreciate your platform for letting me, you know, voice my opinion. And like I said, opinions like an asshole. Some of these cats out here get paid for their asshole. I get paid to give my opinion.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I mean, yeah, you just on here giving your opinion, man. I mean, you was one of the people that was real close to the situation, so why not?
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So with that being said, right, the last interview me and you did was a day after the raid. And when you look at everything now, man, how you feel about everything? It's been like a week, you know, you knowing Diddy, you being around Diddy. Could you ever imagine that his houses would get raided for sex trafficking?
Bro, you can't imagine no stuff like that. You understand? You can't think that, because back then he wasn't Brother Love. He was Puffy. All the way up until he became Diddy. So his behavior over the years has changed. And the behavior that he shows now and that he has shown by being Brother Love, I couldn't imagine that the police would be raiding him for sex trafficking? Nah, bruh. I couldn't imagine that. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't him back then. He's a totally different person that he became. If you've seen him on other platforms, you know, inviting men to party with him, inviting men to go shopping with him. You understand? That wasn't Puffy. That wasn't Diddy. That was Brother Love and Love.
How you feel about all the people that's wondering why haven't any of Diddy big name friends came out to defend him?
Because either two things that I believe. Either they know some of the stuff is true, either they took part in some of the stuff that happened, or they scared that it may mess up their brand. See, nobody wants to be in contact with anybody that allegedly was sex trafficking. You see what the WWF did to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was one of those people that was called for sex trafficking. We don't hear a lot about it because he gave up the company, he did what he was supposed to do, and he became Ghost. But now you see they trying to do the same thing to Puffy. They trying to make him or hip hop the face of sex trafficking, like they was gonna do to WWF at one time. Cause that was a big story. So a lot of his people that know him, a lot of the people that been in those parties and seen probably some unscrupulous shit that went down and was like, ooh, I was there. I hope they don't got me on tape. They feeling a certain way. So they're not gonna speak on nothing until they've been approached with something. You gotta realize, when Homeland Security get their evidence together, they're gonna send agents out. You understand? They might send an agent out to me. Yo, what do you know? What have you heard? What have you seen? What's been going on? You know what I'm saying? You know, did this happen when you was around him? Did this happen back in the day? That's what they're gonna wanna know. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna send investigators out. They're gonna send people out for anybody that they can get some information from to help their case. So those celebrities ain't gonna say nothing. You know, you got your man Stevie J speaking on it right now. He'll be one of the first dudes that they'll probably pull to the side and say, yo, well, you say that your man, I heard you on TMZ said that he never did this and he never did that, but ain't this you? If those pictures or those films or anything like that exists. You know what I'm saying? That's what they pay those agents to do. So, of course, I don't believe that none of the people who are his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, yo, bro, can you imagine? He had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs or little tape recorders. I mean, little those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man, all kind of crazy shit. Bruh, they just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known. If it's on videotape.
Yeah, man, I know they gotta be shook, man, after finding out he was recording everything.
But not only celebrities, I don't think it's only celebrities gonna be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there. Hallelujah. That's crazy.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statements are true.
To better understand the situation, it's essential to know how Diddy's events are organized. This context is crucial in grasping why Bishop T.D. Jakes' attendance at one of these parties has raised eyebrows and sparked controversy. Interview. In Black America, it's common for a vicious thug to enter a church and be referred to as a command.
Little Roy, he also claiming that, you know, when he would go to parties with Diddy, he was lacing up the woman drinks with drugs. How you feel about him saying that? You believe that?
I read that, and if that's what he saw, if he could prove that, and he has a lot of video. He said he had hours and hours of video. So people know how certain people act after one drink, two drinks. And if those girls was drinking out those bottles that he said Diddy laced, and he could show on camera, and he could show that some people had passed out, or some people were acting a certain way after they had those drinks, he won his case on that one.
When you was around Diddy, was he doing drugs, like party drugs, like ecstasy and stuff like that?
Diddy wasn't the dude he is today when I was around him. You understand? He had just started, when I was about to leave, he had just started with because he never smoked weed, he never smoked cigarettes, I never seen him do cocaine or none of that shit. You understand? He would have it for people to do it. You understand? It's certain of his girls like to do it, and he would make sure it would be there. But he wasn't the one that did it. Diddy didn't start getting hooked on drugs until he got hooked on those painkillers. After he got hooked on those painkillers, he started drinking more, because he wouldn't even drink hard liquor. He was only drinking champagne, Don P or Cristal. He was not drinking hard liquor then.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. And he also claims that, Diddy, he was using TD Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time. That's why TD Jakes was there, to try to fix his image. Ain't no money like church money. He was doing all the things to try to get his image straightened up.
I mean, it makes sense. And he also said in this lawsuit that when he was around Diddy, he seen Diddy give out guns, a lot of guns. And he said that the environment around Diddy was violent.
Well, I don't know. He also said Diddy distributed firearms and was selling drugs. And I don't know how far-fetched that is. I don't know if that's true or not and stuff like that. Maybe, Diddy man had guns around and was fronting. Because they do have guys who, if you need guns and stuff like that, call your man, them over here, bring over 5, 6, 7, 8.
The raid exposed Diddy's alleged wrongdoings, sparking public awareness.
Next you is this, right? Is there any possible way that Diddy can bounce back from this, from your point of view?
Yes, he can. Should he? Probably not. Can he? Yes, he can. Because we have the Christian church in Black America. And Black America are suckers for a good redemption story. How many murderers went to the church, got baptized, started their own church, and began a new life? How many career criminals went to the church, got baptized, and started a new life? If Puffy is interested in the church, he could, without question, redeem himself through the church, because the Black church forgives everybody for anything. Let me say that again. The Black church forgives everybody for anything. If Puff Daddy goes and gets baptized, apologizes for all he's ever done, whether he's sincere or insincere, Black Christian America will give him another chance. He can come back, because people who are guilty of things that are almost as grotesque have also come back before him. Yes, he can come back if he baptizes himself, joins the church, and professes to be saved by Christ.
Speaking of the church, right, how you feel about TD Jakes? Because what caught my attention about him is, it's a lot of people that have mixed feelings about him. You have some people that's a fan of his, and you have some people that feel like he's a fraud. But how you feel about him?
I'm not going to call him a fraud. I think I'm not a fan of TD Jakes, because I don't see TD Jakes doing enough to help Black America. That's really my only gripe with the man. As far as him being at the Puff Daddy freak-offs, clearly that is behavior unbecoming of a pastor. Clearly that is behavior unbecoming of a pastor. But he's not the first to do something like that, and he's not the last to do something like that. I mean, let's be honest, every day we have pastors, Black and white, being exposed in this country, sleeping with minors, molesting kids, cheating on their wives, stealing from the church. It's no longer a shock to find out a pastor has been outed as being a closet homosexual or an abuser of children. It's no longer a shock. And that's sad. But my issue with T.D. Jakes is he makes too much money. His church brings in too much revenue for them not to have a school for our children, for them not to have a hospital for our children, for them not to have a bank for our families, for them not to have a supermarket to provide our people with good food. T.D. Jakes' church brings in too much revenue for him not to be a factor in the resurrection of Black America. That's my issue with T.D. Jakes.
Yeah, I mean, if he's making that kind of money, he should be doing more, you know. So I hear you on that, man. But I want to ask you, from your point of view, what do you think is going to happen to Diddy?
I don't know the answer to that, but here's what I do know. Sean Puffy Combs, from the white power structure perspective, is guilty of committing celebrity crimes while no longer being relevant to the white power structure. One thing we know about racism and Black celebrities, when you are no longer a benefit to us, we no longer provide you with the protection you need to operate above the law. That went for Michael Jackson, that went for Prince, that went for Whitney Houston, that went for, it goes for all the celebrities, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, now Sean Puffy Combs. This is why when LeBron James retires from the NBA, he's going to have to be more careful. You have to be more careful when you're no longer the man. You have to be more careful when you're no longer on top, because when you are no longer of earning potential for us, when we can no longer flip a quick dollar off you, we send you back to the plantation to be with the rest of the Negroes. You're no longer special. Get out the house, go back to the plantation. And when you back on that plantation with the rest of Black America, you will be treated and viewed just like the rest of Black America. Puffy might be shot. Bill Cosby may have been shot. R. Kelly may have been shot. How dare you do this to me? Look at what I've done for you. I've remade hip hop for you. It doesn't matter, Puff Daddy. You ain't had a hit in years. You ain't been musically relevant to the white power structure in years. Puffy should have been more careful about his behavior, although none of us, including me, would ever condone or excuse domestic abuse. When you no longer matter to them, they no longer matter to you.
Diddy's actions may lead to a downfall, tarnishing his legacy. Let me know if you'd like me to make any further adjustments.
How you feel about that?
Well, I think that the authorities came up with enough evidence to go into a judge by using the civil cases that has came upon him. So because they used the civil cases and found that there was some criminal activity that may have been found at some one of those people who, like Cassie, Jonathan Odie didn't have a civil case against him, but Cassie, Jonathan Odie, and Lil Rob, they used the evidence that they had or the statements they made and convinced the judge that there was enough probable cause to go in there with a search warrant. But the way they did the search warrant and how they did it, man, I thought he was El Chapo or somebody. You know, they took a tactical team in there, brother. They had tactical units. You understand? And it was for allegedly a sex crime. But they took, yo, my man, did you see the artillery and the way the Homeland Security came in there? My man, you would have swore, you know, it was going to be some gun violence up in there, how they came to it. So my feeling of it is that enough statements have been made that they could probably prove. They did enough investigation. See, people think that when the federal government go in there on you, the reason they got a 99% conviction rate, because most people say, they got me. They don't go to court with them. So for them to have a team in New York, because they didn't really mention too much about New York. They had property in New York, property in Miami, and a property in LA, all simultaneously hit. Those different agencies had to get together, plan that, and that's not no bull. You know, that's a lot of manpower, a lot of money. So they want to know how they spent the taxpayers. The taxpayers gonna know why you spending my money on this to come up with nothing. So you best believe they had something in the first place to go up in there, either through, like I said before, wiretaps. You understand? Because if they convinced the judge that they need a warrant, they had wiretaps, surveillance, and different things that was going on. And then, like, it's a lot of crazy statements that have been made. And you got to look at that interview that Jonathan Odie did, bruh. You know what I'm saying? That was probably more damaging than Cassie. And that was more damaging than Cassie, because check this out. He said Diddy was transporting liquid cocaine on his private jet. Now, the DEA wasn't involved in this. It was the FBI and the Homeland Security, basically. That's because of the sex trafficking thing. But if they find any of that stuff in any one of his houses, there's a problem. Even if they find illegal guns, the constitutional right goes the right to bear arms, but he had to have licenses for that shit. So if anybody got illegal guns up in there, if they find any kind of drugs to a high amount, cocaine and weed, I don't think Diddy gonna get charged, because what he did, he put everything in his kid's name and his company.
Did you see the video of his kids in handcuffs?
Yeah, that's a tactical thing. The kids being in handcuffs is a tactical thing that law enforcement use, you understand, hoping that people who've never been in handcuffs before, that it either scares them or want to make them talk. There's no reason after they searched those kids, because they didn't have a search warrant for bodies. They had a search warrant for like materials, laptops, telephones, logs, pictures, tapes. You know, that's what they search warrant is for. They didn't have a search warrant for bodies. So those kids, when they came out, they should have searched them. And then, yo, listen, y'all sit down right there. That was a tactical move to get them to talk and to scare them into saying something, you know, by keeping them handcuffed like that. They didn't have to do those kids like that. None of those kids have, that I know of, criminal cases against them or known for criminal activity. So there was no reason for them to do that. If them was the damn Rockefellers or somebody else, they wouldn't have had their kids handcuffed like that. But you gotta realize their father has painted a crazy picture to the authorities. You understand? It's a crazy picture and people don't realize this, brother. First and foremost, Puff has been dodging the legal system for years. His affiliation with BMF, even though Meech has said that Puff never did anything, Puff never been around her, they still was partying together. So in the authorities' mind, they feel like Puff knew what Meech was doing. Then with the introduction to Jacob and different people, and a lot of people going to jail for money laundering and stuff like that, Puff being, and this is documented, Puff being a CI for an FBI agent I said this years ago that him and Kirk Burroughs took some paperwork. They was taking some papers up to the FBI stuff, like when they was here in New York. They was taking paperwork up there and stuff like that. Don't know what it was, but later on found out that he was a CI. You understand? Now, what happens? He don't have that. The guy probably, that was 20, 30 years, 20 some years ago. The guy probably retired. Puff ain't dealing with him. No, he didn't pass Puff on or something like that. So now, Puff been dodging the legal system with the people had it wrong. They think it was with the Black Mafia family. No, it was with Butt Naked. I said this years ago. The person that he said is his senior advisor, Corey Jacobs. Corey had 9 16-to-life sentences for drug trafficking. You make him your senior advisor, even though that was your man, he coming home. That's your man, pots and pans. But Wolf was the one who took care of them when they was away. You know what I'm saying? Wolf was the one who took care of them. So now, you got all these, these characters, around you. What they gonna think when they come to your house? They got the evidence, or they had statements that you blew up Kid Cudi's car. You understand what I'm saying? They have statements that, you may have been affiliated with people being shot. So they come to your house like this. They treat your kids like this. Based on the picture you have played to the authorities. So them having his kids like that, I think that was wrong. After they searched those kids, make sure they didn't have no weapons on them, sit them down on the ground, make them feel comfortable, because at this time, they're not criminals. They haven't committed any crimes.
I see. Speaking of drugs, right? Because you made a comment about it earlier. How you feel about Diddy's drug mule getting arrested?
The news about them arresting the mule, now, they're gonna have to prove that. Now, if that guy becomes a witness, and if they can track anything back to Puff with that, that's gonna be one of their star witnesses.
Damn.
Cause see, they will give him leniency. They were like, yo, listen, man, hey buddy, listen here, we don't really want you. We know you was just doing this to, you were doing this to take.
We would be interested in knowing your thoughts on this, so please remember to like and subscribe.
Makes this big scene. We get in the club, and I'm really, the entire time I'm in this frame of mind, like, why did I come? Why did I come? So everybody, it's active. It's, as they say, the club was jumping, and everybody's trying to, they see people they know, and everybody's heading off somewhere. So I was like the designated driver homegirl. I just held a little corner in the front. I didn't go deep into the club because I wasn't in a party state of mind. I didn't feel like I should have been there. And I just held my little corner across from the bar. I stood in this little area by this half a metal wrought iron gate, and I just stood there. My friends would go off, do their thing, come back and check on me. You good, Ab? You want something to drink? You good? I just was like, oh, I'm good. Y'all go ahead. I was only in the club an hour and 15 minutes before I got shot. While I was standing there, right across from me at the other side, which is where the bar was, I saw Scar. Matthew Allen, the guy that Puffy got into the fight with, that caused this whole melee to take place. I knew Scar. Scar's mother lived across the street from one of my beauty salons. I've known Scar from the street. I've known him for years, and we were cool. So he's like, hey, what you doing in here? Because he knew I got saved too. And so he's like, uh-oh, praise the Lord, you up in here? What you doing in here? Everybody was shocked to see me there because they all knew. That's how 10 toes down I am. Wherever I'm doing, everyone is going to know. It's not a secret for me. And so because everybody knew I got saved and I was not out at clubs and stuff like that, it was clear, what you doing here? And so I was like, oh, you know, Stacy's promoting her stuff and I'm just out here with her promoting, supporting her, and that's it. He said, what you drinking? Let me get you a drink. I said, I'm not drinking. So I said, I'll take a juice. So he ended up getting me a juice. He even laughed, like, you got me ordering juice? I said, I'm not drinking. And that's the thing about me as well. When I say what I say, people respect my decisions, just like I respect theirs. If I'm not participating in an activity, no one can make me do it. It just so happens, I drank my juice, I was standing on the side. One of my girlfriends came to me eventually and said, I want to go to the restroom. And so I walked with her to the restroom. We went down, we descended the staircase, which was right beside where I was standing, and we went around the perimeter. Because if you know a club, it's all thick and congested in the middle, and I don't want to be brushing against people and all that stuff. So we walked the perimeter, the outer perimeter of the club, and we went to the bathroom. As I got down there walking, you could see that the club was really like packed. There were tons of people there. And so I was like, wow, it's really, you know, crowded in here. You could kind of see who and who was in the club. So we went to the bathroom. I went right back to my spot. In no time, a bunch of people start ascending up the staircase from the dance floor and coming into what would be the corridor between where I was standing on one side and where the bar was and a bunch of other people were standing, where Scar was standing. That walkway led to the front door. And whenever celebrities or someone notable is making their way through the club, you know how it is. They have the main people, they have the entourage, the security or whatever, the hangers on, and everybody who wants to be adjacent to them. And so that's what happened. All those people trying to be adjacent, like, oh, where they going? Let me walk where they walking. Jumped on too. So it was a huge, it swole. That little walkway swole with people. As they were ascending the stairs, you know, Shine song was on, it was going off, and Black Rob's song, Whoa, was coming on. So that little intro, like that instrumentation, and so people were like, you know, it was a current song at the time. It was popping. People were feeling themselves, and they started, you know, posturing and bravado, and everybody was hyped. As they came through with that kind of mentality, they bumped into Scar's back. Now, Scar's back was to the walkway, so he couldn't see who was coming. He was facing the bar. His back was to the walkway. As they came through, they pushed him, and his drink went in his face. So like anybody, if somebody pushes you from the back, he elbowed back, like, get off of me. When he elbowed back, they tried to push. And so it made the whole crowd start swaying. And that's when they got into this whole interaction, like, yo, you know, he apparently, I don't know all the details in that, but I know, I didn't know them firsthand at the time. I do know them now. You know, he tried to say something to him or whatever, and then they said whatever they said, and then one of the guys that was with Scar, apparently Puffy gestured in some type of way that they didn't like, and one of the guys that was with Scar slapped him in the face with a wad of money. It was like the young guys are now on, you know, doing that little phone brick thing. Well, he had this wad of money in his hand for whatever reason, because I wasn't standing near them, I was across. But all I know is I saw when he swung and slapped, and money was raining through the sky and falling to the floor. Everybody started trying to run and pick up money, and it was just craziness. It was lights, action, camera, people scurrying for money, trying to catch money out of the sky, and that melee was still taking place. Now, when I saw that, I turned around to my friend and I was like, uh-oh, it's getting crazy in here. You see this? And never in a million years did I think it would escalate to a shooting. I thought it was male bravado. It was cold as ice outside, so I had no reason to believe it would get to that. But in no time, one thing led to another. The money was falling down, and then I see Shine. I hear the raised voices, and I see Shine and Puffy start backing back. Now, we don't all watch the Hood movie or whatever. We know what it looks like when people are backing back and reaching from their hip to pull. So as they were backing back, they were drawing from their hip, and I turned to tell my friend, like, ooh, girl, watch out. Oh my God. Because there was really nowhere for me to go. Where I was standing, there was a wrought iron metal rail to my back. I couldn't there was a drop over that. In fact, one of my friends fell over it onto the dance floor after everything happened. There was nowhere for me to go. And so as they were going back, they were backing back, like literally walking backwards towards the door, drawing from their hip. I told my friend, I said, oh my God, watch out. As I turned back to look at them, I watched them bow, bow. Both of them fired, and the muzzle flash was like, psh, psh. Shine's muzzle flash was a little higher. He was on the side closest to the bar. Puffy's muzzle flash was a little lower, and he was on the side closest to where I was, straight ahead from me. I watched them both fire their guns. I watched them. I got hit right here, in my nose, in between my eyes, which means I'm facing directly at you. Just like I'm looking at you, and I can tell you got on black shades. They kind of look like Cazelles and an Adidas shirt. That's exactly how I was looking at him. And I watched him shoot me. So, not to digress, it always bugs me when people say, how can you be sure? The same way you're sure when your man is lying to you, or when your woman is lying to you, or the same way you're sure when you ask your kids a question and they do that little thing they do when they're not being honest and you know they're telling a story. I'm that sure. We know people that we love. We know people's tells or body language or whatever. The same way you're sure that I have on a green shirt, I'm certain that he shot me. Now, was he aiming at me? Was I the object of his fire? Absolutely not. I should not have been, because I didn't do anything to him. But is that what resulted? Absolutely, because I see a lot of people online get stuck on that. Oh, well, why would he shoot you? What did you do? Did you owe him money? And I'm like, class, pay attention. Bullets don't have names, and they don't have predetermined destinations. Once they come out of the gun, they're going to go wherever they go. And that's the thing about crime and shooting people. You cannot guarantee that what you're aiming at is what you're going to hit, because you might be a thug, but it doesn't mean you have good aim. You might be a criminal, but it doesn't mean you have good aim. And that is exactly how I sit here today, because some thug criminal with an attitude and an ego that was outside of control decided he was going to fire a gun in a crowded nightclub and shot me in my face. By the grace of God, I am here. The first thing I said when the bullet hit me, and listen, when right before the muzzle flash went off, when I had turned back to look, I heard God's voice say, relax, you are about to get hit, calm down. And when I screamed no, pop, pop, and it hit me dead in my face. And I never passed out, I never fell, I never cried, everybody started running. And just like when you watch a TV show or a movie, and there's one person standing in spot and everybody else is moving in fast motion, and that one person is just in that spot, whatever they do looks a little slower, but everybody else is moving fast. That's exactly what it was like. Everybody was running, trying to get places. It was chaos. It was chaos. When that door, the first few people ran out of the door flew open. And remember, I was in that line sight, straight from the staircase, straight towards the front door. As soon as the bullet hit me, I threw my hands up and screamed out, no, God, don't take me. I'm not finished raising my kids. I have work to do. I screamed that at the top of my lungs. I said, I'm not going. Don't take me. I have work to do. I have to raise my children. And as I said that, the door flew open and I could feel that total rush of that cold December 27th morning air. It was freezing out there. And it passed right before the air. You ever watch Star